Hello, first up of this year is HiBy R3 Pro. I think it's a good sign to start the year with such a powerful and capable DAW. So I reviewed, I think, all previous models offered by HiBy, all of them, and probably I didn't miss anyone. But of course R3 Pro is the leader in the price to quality ratio, because regular R3 offered a lot of good stuff in small body with affordable price. And basically R3 Pro, you know, it's not kind of higher level model as Pro usually means. It's more logical probably would be to call it R3 second generation, because price is the same, it costs $200. But inside HiBy changed really lot of stuff. First of all, they've replaced digital tonal converter from ES9218 to the two CS43131. Cyrus Logic became more and more popular. It allows them to achieve longer work time. It's about 14 hours from balanced out and about 16-17 hours from single-ended, so it's a really good figures for such a small DAW. Also they reworked audio schema, and it's now more powerful, about 30 milliwatts per channel from single-ended output and more than 200 milliwatts for 32 ohms from balanced output. At the same time, they really packed it with tons and tons of modern features like MQA audio, bidirectional Bluetooth, supporting all modern codecs, including their own high bandwidth codec UAT. It supports Wi-Fi and two streaming services, web radio, pedometer, so lots and lots of stuff, and for pretty reasonable price. So let's have a closer look. Package is small, but it's done in typical HiBy way with white cardboard cover. So as you can see, some basic features are listed here, but not much of them. For us, most interesting these labels for the technologies that is used inside. Inside we will have player itself, and the basic set of accessories. So USB, you know, here we'll have USB cable, nice one, typical plastic half case. So let me open it in accurate way. Now it's transparent, not the white one as it was with previous version of R3. And here you will have warranty card, manual and protective glass. So as you can see, accessory set is nice, and you will have everything that you will need to use the DAW. In terms of design, it's totally similar to the previous version of R3. There is a black and gray versions, but both are made of aluminium. I'd like to see in future R3 in stainless steel case, but it will make it heavier and more expensive. But anyway, it has a bit different proportions comparing with closest rivals. So as you can see, M6 is a bit narrower and longer, while this one is closer to the square shape. Almost equal thickness, so it's really small and pocketable. And here is the closest model made by HiBy themselves. So R5 is a bit taller with about the same width and height, so HiBy is making really small and compact devices. Both back and front panel covered with glass, thanks to the HiBy that they, maybe it's not glass but plastic, but I'm not sure about the material, because thanks to HiBy they glued protective screens on both front and back panels, so I don't have to do it, and that's what I like. As you can see, front protective screen will work as a short manual, showing all the connectors, ports and all features. So On the left side there is a volume control, nice clicking buttons. On the upper side there is a balanced output and single-ended, here used 2.5mm, not Pentagon unfortunately, but I suspect that Pentagon won't fit here. On-off button with multicolored LED indicator and 3 buttons for the tracks navigation and play pause. This one has small tick, so you can find it even without looking, it's really nice. On the bottom there is USB Type-C for charging, also you can use it to access the microSD contents, you can use it as digital transport, you can use it as digital to analog converter, so every features that you can expect you will have. And microSD card slot, it doesn't have its internal memory, but it supports all microSD cards. And front panel, we need to carefully unglue this protective screen. As usual there is a slight air bubble, some idiot is doing some fireworks behind the window, but let's turn player on. Yep, some rich idiot with a lot of fireworks. So screen is pretty nice, as usual. It has good brightness, good viewing angles, nice resolution, so it will be enough to stay visible under the bright sun, so everything is done in a really nice and reliable way. It feels really solid, everything is built perfectly, so in terms of design it's still as great as the regular R3, and I think this aspect is also really important. As for firmware, it's made by HiBy, and that means that it's done as good as possible. So it's not using Android. Maybe for someone it will be good news, but it gives some minor limitations. But anyway, let's see it probably in more details in practice. So when you boot up the device, you will get into the media library. So first tab of media library is your tracks, so all tracks in one list, files, albums, artists and genres, so you can browse all that categories. So it has 2 levels of grouping, so artists, then albums and so on. Second tab is for playlists, favorites, recent, custom playlists and recently added. Third one is for title. It's a bit not convenient to log in using the keyboard that is made here, so as you can see, keyboard reminds old cell phones, so you need to tap all that buttons a few times sometimes. So M, E, no, E, you hit search or enter on the keyboard and it do the search. So it's a custom title client built by HiBy themselves, so no support for the offline playlists here. Anyway, here is main menu. No, probably let's do it in the other way. Let me select some track. I will show now playing screen first. So here is now playing screen. It shows album cover in a big way, and here you can add it to favorites. You can see lyrics if it's embedded, play order, track navigation and additional menu. So list now playing, add to playlist, equalizer, view album properties, or you can delete this track. And swiping back, you can open the menu. So update database, it updates the media library, import music via Wi-Fi, so it stops the playback, and you can visit this address in browser and upload songs directly to the player. MSEP, it's one of the greatest features of HiBy dubs. It's a kind of equalizer, but instead of tweaking different frequency bands, you just can change the overall sound temperature, making it warmer or brighter, bass extension, deeper or lighter, bass texture, note thickness and other stuff. So female overtones, sibilance, and you can tune the sound in the way that is more convenient for you. But of course regular equalizer is present here too. You just turn it on and you can adjust it how you like. So pretty convenient. E-book reader, I'm not sure does it make any sense, but anyway. Pedometer is also pretty basic. I'm not sure if it's a useful feature, but I think that it's better to have the features that you won't use and doesn't have the features that will be useful for you. Wireless settings, it's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so you just activate it and everything as expected here. How volume adjust over Bluetooth, paired devices and available devices. You can select the codec. As you can see, almost all codecs are available. No aptX HD, but I don't think that it makes much sense when you have LDAC. So let's go back. Wi-Fi is also logical. Turn on, it works, connection. So DLNA is supported, AirPlay is supported for the Apple ecosystem, and HiBy Link. It's a convenient feature to control the device remotely from other DAB. So I didn't turn Bluetooth off, so let's go back. Then play settings, play mode, playlist, loop track, shuffle, loop list, output selection when it's connected something, DSD output mode, DSD gain compensation, resume from last playing. I prefer to have position here, gapeless playback, control maximum digital volume and maximum volume. Should it remember the volume, crossfade, I'm not sure is it necessary, gain, replay gain if you need, if you have some albums with different volume, balance, digital filter, it's not available because I didn't connect the headphones, play through folders and play through albums, so both features are pretty necessary. And system settings, so lots of them, you can tweak everything, language, music, database update, brightness, backlight time, UI themes, you can select basic or custom themes are available. Theme color, font size, actually let's increase it a little bit so it will be easier to hit the necessary parts. Should buttons, USB mode, storage or digital to analog converter, should buttons be operable when the device screen turned off. Time settings, idle timer, sleep timer, battery percentage display, standby, inline remote, status LED, recording steps, screensaver settings, screen rotation if you need it, restore factory settings, and firmware update, both via SD card or over the air, and information about. So firmware works really nicely. HiBy spent a lot of time polishing it. Main issue is not convenient keyboard and lacking of offline mode in the title client, but besides that it's really feature-packed device. You can use it as wireless transport, as a wired transport, you can use it as digital to analog converter and lot of other usages, and of course you can use it as a player itself. It has a pretty efficient sleep mode, so you can just pause it and stay on the shelf overnight. It won't discharge too much, and long work time makes it a perfect companion for you for the daily usage. And of course about the sound, HiBy retweaked this model, and changes comparing with regular R3 is pretty close, like when you compare R6 with R6 Pro, so it's a pretty similar change in terms of tuning. Actually I was mistaken, in the regular R3 they used not 9218 Sabre chip but 9028, so not if that makes a big difference, as for me sound is the most important thing. But anyway, changing the digital tonal converters to the Cyrus Logic and retweaking the sound gave this device a bit less warm signature comparing with R3. It's still on the warmer side, but a bit less, because the treble here is developed noticeably better comparing with R3, at least to my ears, but it still maintains the weighty representation typical for the HiBy dubs. But let's have some in-ear monitors on the table. For example, I don't know why I do that, but I think it looks better with some in-ear monitors on the table. So bass here is linear, without additional accents in terms of quantity, but with a bit of added weight. So it's pretty tight, impactful, normal in terms of resolution, not super resolving, but pretty good, and it goes really deep and it shows really good control of deepest layers of bass. So if you're looking for a small dub with nice weighty, meaty, low frequencies, probably R3 Pro is your choice, but let's cover comparisons a bit later. So nice texturing, really good body for the acoustic instruments or real instruments, but enough of impact for synthesized low frequencies too. And as an example for the low frequencies, I've got David Bowie, Blackstar, one of the greatest works in the history of world music. It's really sad that David passed so early, and actually Neil Peart passed away a few days ago. I was really sad, but it's a matter of different talk. Maybe I should start some streams. Anyway, you heard this track, I'm sure, and you know that signature bass line at the beginning and later going pretty deep with lot of three-dimensional effects and with perfect record quality. So this player will give you all of that, of course, if you pair it with some decent in-ear monitors. Mids are also done in similar way, a bit of added weight on the mids, but at the same time normal resolution. It's not going into the micro contrast, it's not trying to nitpick every single detail and show it to you, but at the same time it's normal level of detailization, so it's not critical to the quality of the record. You don't need something absolutely flawlessly recorded with it, so it's a good choice if you've got some poorly recorded tracks in the media library. Really pleasant way of rendering male voices with a bit of added weight. Female voices are okay, but male are better. Well, it's logical, because additional weight is good for male voices, and for female voices it's not always the best idea to add some weight for them. So what else? It's really good in terms of staging. It's noticeable improvement over the regular R3, so a bit wide, noticeably wider than average in width and in depth. Not the most spacious, but above average, with good positioning and layering. So it's especially it will be a good plus for those who shifting from some smartphone, and improved imaginary stage will be one of the most noticeable benefits of the separate dub. And as an example for the mid frequencies, it's not some audiophilic track, and it's of course not the track to be used for critical listening or for sound analysis, but it's a great illustration for the mid frequencies. It's a bit of nostalgia for me. It's Rage 1995, Alive But Dead, and it has great intro, really atmospheric, with really low going notes, but then it shifts towards the speed and fast aggressive part. And you know, I like such metal. I'm tolerant to the heavy music. I'm okay with some brutal genres like black, death, grindcore, but I think that maybe not the real brutality, but real emotions, it's the groups like Rage, and I really like this forwardness and this aggression that PV puts into this album, and it's superb. And later released Lingua Mortis orchestra version of orchestral of this track is also great, but let's go back. So it's resolving enough to play all these distorted guitars, and as I've said, it's highlighting male voices perfectly, so it's fitting this track in a really nice and engaging way. And treble, it's probably the most noticeable improvement over the regular R3, because for me R3 was a bit on the darker side with a bit recessed treble. Here treble is a bit softened, but it's not as recessed as R3. So it's a really good treble for those who don't like sharp and piercing highs, but at the same time for those who don't want the muffled treble. It has a good extension, surprisingly good actually for this size and price range. Attacks and decays are a bit slower, so treble sounding is a bit softer, but still it's crisp enough. Not the most crispest and most highlighted, but just a bit shifted towards the more comfortable way of representation, but still crisp enough to represent all different bells, percussions and so on. Of course it's simpler compared with some more expensive dubs, even with R5. Of course it's lacking a bit of overtone saturation, it's lacking a bit of layering, but anyway you need rich and great treble, you need to pay more, unfortunately. So as an example for the treble, I've got John Carpenter, great director and great composer. I really like his soundtracks. Actually, I like his soundtracks more than his movies. I'm not a great fan of horrors, even the most classical ones. And Mystery, nice track with a lot of bells and percussions and making a good contrast, really deep going synthesized bass and really high and going and crisp bells, and this player renders this contrast in a pretty nice and enjoyable way. So it's not the most complicated track, but it's not the most expensive dub, so I think they correspond each other. In terms of power, it's a really good improvement, and it will be more than enough for the vast majority of headphones. Of course it won't drive some 300 ohms models or some tough planars, but actually even with average sensitive headphones from balanced output he deals pretty well. And from single-ended output it will be more than enough for vast majority of in-ear monitors that you will use with portable players, so it's pretty good. And on the other hand, it has pretty black background, so background noise is on the really low level. Even with sensitive in-ear monitors it behaves really nicely. Speaking about the comparisons, I won't focus now on the usability and other aspects like size, battery lifetime and so on and so forth, so just briefly in a few words about the sound, because if you're interested in usability you can find the reviews of all these dubs and compare them, so I don't think there is much sense in focusing on that. So let's probably proceed this way. HiBy's AP80, I've got copper version on the table, but it's different comparing with regular, so let's imagine that it's a regular AP80. HiBy's AP80 is thinner and a bit faster and a bit more focused on the micro detalization, so AP80 is a dub for those who prefer to hear the all tiniest nuance and detail, and at the same time they're okay to sacrifice a bit of note weight and thickness and a bit of mass, impact and so on. While this one is more weighty and a bit less focused on the micro detalization. Actually it's pretty close to the copper version, because in the copper version HiBy retuned the sound a little bit and it's noticeably it's more fat and more thick and with more weight. And FiO M6, it's somewhere in between of the regular R3 and R3 Pro. It's pretty natural, but at the same time with a bit of added weight, so it's not totally natural monitoring like HiBy's dub, it's somewhere in between. So, and R3 Pro is attempt to go the same way, so it's They have more or less similar low frequencies with a bit more depth here, but not by a bigger margin. Mids are here are a bit more resolving, while here is a bit more weighty, and treble is a bit more detailed on the feel, while HiBy is more comfortable and shows a bit more extension. So if you like more natural signatures, then M6 is for you. If you like a bit more weighty with comfortable treble, then R3 Pro is your option. And of course the main competitors is HiBy own dubs. So comparing with regular R3, this one has more treble, it has blacker background, a bit more resolution, so it's more audiophilic sound, let's say. So it's not a huge step forward, but it's noticeable. And what is more important, it has more power, so it will drive tighter headphones better, it will show a better control of the existing headphones. And R5, it has similar ideas, but it's more rich in terms of sound, has more saturated treble with overtones, more weight and impact on the low. So you know they are pretty similar, but this one is like half of step above comparing with the HiBy R3 Pro. So to summarize, really good dub if you like the signatures that I've described. It's small, it has tons of features, it's great in many aspects, and it will offer you a lot of things like different Bluetooth codecs, USB on the go support, it works as USB digital converter, and so on and so forth. So it's what small dub should be in 2020. It was HiBy R3 Pro. Thank you for attention. Thank you for listening, it's more correct way to say that, and have a nice day.